Turn it back to our chairman.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Good afternoon. The board meeting of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey and its component units is now being called to order. Today's in-person meeting is also being held virtually via teleconference, with the proceedings live streamed from the Port Authority's website. On October 11th, the Committees of Finance and Operations met in executive sessions. Earlier today, the Committees on Finance met in public session. The Committees on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management met in public and executive session. The Nominating Committee met in executive session, and the Committees on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management and Operations met jointly in executive. Their reports will be filed with the official minutes of today's board meeting. The Commissioners also met in executive earlier today to discuss matters involving public safety or law enforcement matters related to the purchase, sale, or lease of real property where disclosure would affect the value thereof or the public interest, matters related to the personnel or personnel procedures, or matters involving ongoing negotiations or reviews of contracts or proposals. Let's begin this meeting on a more solemn, somber note. We recently lost a member of the Port Authority family who passed away on September 27th. We note and we mourn Jason Ortiz, a principal business development representative in the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, with 8 years of service as a Port Authority employee, following 2 years as a contractor. I ask for everybody for a moment of silence to keep Jason and his family, his friends, and coworkers in their prayers. Thank you. Also note, we just had a passing away of a longtime Port Authority Commissioner, David Steiner. He served almost 20 years on the Port Authority during a very difficult time of the rebuild of the Port Authority World Trade, Oculus, and after the 9/11. He was one of the steady hands with the other commissioners, both in New York and New Jersey, who got us through a very difficult time. He was a developer, private sector developer by trade, and he brought a lot of those talents to bear as he lent those many hours during those very difficult times working with New York and New Jersey, both governors and the commissioners. He served 13 years as committee chair on the audit committee. He was committed to the highest standards of oversight. He had so many positive attributes and achievements. I will tell you, in the early days, I was not a fan of David Steiner. I sat on the Senate Judiciary, and I had the privilege of having had the conversation and asking him questions on Senate Judiciary. After a couple of conversations and some give and take, and by the way, he was no shrinking violet, by the way. We established a rapport, a relationship, and I really came to appreciate the individual that he was and the contributions that he had for this country, for this nation, for his charities, and for what he did for the World Trade and Port Authority. I will tell you one story that I think is funny, and it also I think David would appreciate me telling the story. I've shared it with a few of you. In I think it was September of 2012, President Obama came to the site, and at that time the ED, not Rick, different ED, decided that only a few folks were going to meet with the president, including the two governors, and the commissioners were put off to the side and were essentially cordoned off. And then Commissioner David Steiner says, "Look, I know President Obama a long time. He's a friend of mine." And I think some of the folks just kind of rolled their eyes. So President Obama goes up, has his tour, he comes down, and he sees the commissioners off to the side, and he looks at David Steiner. He goes, "David, what are you doing over there?" And David goes, "I told you I knew this guy." Now, here's what the story is. In 2004, at that time, it was State Senator Obama in 2004. He was running for the U.S. Senate in the primary, and he was going to New York City for a fundraiser. And somehow, through a mutual friend, somebody hooked up then State Senator Obama with David Steiner. David Steiner had this huge fundraiser in Llewellyn Park in West Orange for then State Senator, which as I'm told, that fundraiser, coupled with the one in New York, helped put together the necessary resources that got the senator to win the U.S. Senate. And President Obama said to the disbelieving commissioners, "One of the reasons I'm president is because of David Steiner. You should know that." Great story, great legacy. He would smile if he heard us talk about him. He was sometimes a tough character. He had an enormous wealth of experience, enormously generous in many fronts, charities, colleges. and he did some terrific work with the Israeli charitable causes. We will miss him. I ask everybody just to take a moment to celebrate his life and remember what his contributions were to this agency. Thank you. Okay, at this time, we are now going to proceed to the election of an officer. The nominating committee met in executive prior to the meeting in connection to the election of general counsel. We would like to hear from the chair of the nominating committee and the longest-serving commissioner, Gary LaBarbera. May I have your report, Gary?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. In accordance with the bylaws of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, the nominating committee met in executive session prior to today's meeting in connection with the election of general counsel. On behalf of the nominating committee, I desire to report that all the meetings held earlier today, in accordance with the Port Authority's bylaws, the committee, by unanimous action, submits the nomination of Amy Fisher for election to the office of General Counsel of the Port Authority. Do any nominating committee members wish to make a statement concerning this proposal? Hearing none, Mr. Chairman, this concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. May I have a motion on the nomination? Have a second, please. Roll call, please.
Chairman O'Toole?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Linford?
Definitely.
Commissioner Bollwage?
Yes.
Commissioner Cohen?
Yes.
Commissioner Eve?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher?
Yes.
Commissioner Helmy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera?
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yes.
The votes are all in order. The item's approved. Congratulations, General Counsel Amy Fisher. Before we have your swearing in, and we're going to hear a few, first of all, congratulations. And Rick and I will talk about some of the process. You know, this was a position that became vacant when Michael Farbiage became a judge. Michael, as we know and talked about, is an extraordinary general counsel. And, you know, we thought, Rick and I thought, and the folks thought it was time to go out and look and have an exhaustive national search, which we did, an exhaustive process. And at the end of the day, we didn't have to look too far other than here. And we did look far and wide. And I will tell you that Amy has been acting general counsel since May, extraordinary in every step. She's been here since 2017. She has learned much. She's brought much experience. I couldn't be more delighted, more thrilled, and I feel comforted by the fact, Amy, that you're there. Michael was there. You have us. And it is your wisdom, your experience, your love of this authority which made you just the choice, the natural one. And on behalf of the board, on behalf of all of the employees, we want to congratulate you. You are going to be the 9th general counsel, which is extraordinary in 102 years. And I will tell you, you will be the first female general counsel in the history of the Port Authority. Any other comments before we have, we're going to hear from the national anthem and the PAPD National Guard. Anyone? Rick?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I would just like to congratulate the board as well as Amy. This is a really both excellent but also well-deserved choice. And I say that in the context of having worked with a lot of lawyers over my career. I guess Amy and I have now overlapped for 5 years. And in terms of her dedication, her lawyering, her attention to detail in contexts, particularly deal context, but other contexts as well, where the nature of the problem is intense, complicated, and Amy, just without fail, gets through the detail, by paying attention to it, gets through the complexities, and always is part of the team bringing home a successful conclusion in terms of the channel. So I think that Amy not only is and both was and is the best choice, but really has earned the position. So congratulations, Amy.
Any other commission want to be heard? All right, if not, we're going to have a presentation of the guard, and after that, we're going to have a swearing in for Amy, and then we're also going to have a swearing in for Danielle Outlaw, Danielle's here somewhere. Danielle. Danielle she's going to be sworn in as the Deputy Chief Security Officer, and we'll talk about that when she comes up. Welcome aboard, Danielle. So, Honor Guard, it's on you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in through the night, that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free, the home brave.
I'm going to give the oath. You want to give the oath beyond the time? We'll split it. This time, Amy, if you can come up, I'm going to have Rick Cotton, if you can hold the Bible, and the Vice Chair and I are going to administer the oath. State your name. Do solemnly swear.
That I will support
The Constitution
the
of the State of the
United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New York and New Jersey.
of the State of New York and New Jersey.
That I will faithfully
And that I will faithfully
discharge
discharge
the duties
the duties
of General Counsel
of General Counsel
in and for
in for
Port Authority of New York and New Jersey,
the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey
in accordance with the law
Thank you.
So this is a very, very, very thrilling experience. I can't begin to tell you, but I wanted to tell you that it is an honor and a privilege to be here, newly appointed as the 9th General Counsel of the Port Authority. I am profoundly grateful for the trust that you have reposed in me, and I look so forward to assisting the Port Authority in moving forward into its second century, accomplished and admired, thanks to all of your efforts. The Port Authority helps its neighbors on both sides of the river to lead lives that are more rewarding and less burdensome. I am exhilarated when I think about joining my colleagues here in this room and beyond to achieve this goal. My thanks go out to you, commissioners, chairman, vice chairman, and executive director, and in particular to the staff of the law department and the ethics and compliance office with whom I have worked with great pleasure for the last 6 years in the shared effort to keep our actions lawful, ethical, and befitting this great agency. I look forward to continuing that effort. Thank you so much.
Raise your right hand. Repeat after us. I state your name.
I, Danielle L.
You solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
The Constitution
And the Constitution
of the States
of the state
of New York and New Jersey,
of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties
the duties
of First Deputy Chief Security
of First Deputy Chief Security Officer
In and for the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey,
in and for the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey,
in accordance with the law
in accordance with the law
and according to the best of my ability.
and according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me.
Thanks. Go ahead.
Very brief. I just want to take an opportunity to first acknowledge my family that's all on the West Coast that's watching and couldn't be here today. But Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, and Executive Director, the commissioners, the new CSO team that I'm proud to be a part of and with, the Port Authority family, thank you. It is an honor and privilege to share this moment with you. Obviously, I was sworn in today, but what some of you may not know is that this is my first time in my adult life that I've not been in uniform. So this also signifies a transition in my life. And I am honored and privileged to share this moment with each and every one of you as we make an impact on the world. The world is changing, whether we like it or not. And it's an honor to be a part of this with you and share this with you. So thank you very much. And I look forward, absolutely forward to what's to come. Thank you.
Either way. How do you like that?
Double fill.
It's taken me a while to get used to actually really like.
Yeah.
You're good? Yeah. Good comments? Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
Thank you.
Amy, come on down.
George? One more. All right, everyone. 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
It really is. Now? All righty. One other bit of celebratory. We have, last month marked the 50th anniversary of the position of tunnel and bridge agent at the Port Authority, a role that is critical to the safe operations of our bridges and tunnels. To mark this occasion, our Director of Tunnels and Bridges and Terminals, Diane Eller, will provide remarks and share a video that demonstrate the importance of TBAs and recognize some of the men and women who serve in this role. Diane.
Thank you, Chairman. First, let me say that as the Director of Tunnels, Bridges, and Terminals Department, it is my honor to recognize and celebrate the 50th anniversary of our tunnels and bridge agents, often referred to as TBAs and senior TBAs. This anniversary marks the first class of TBAs who reported for duty at the Holland Tunnel on July 19, 1973. The following year, TBAs began working at the Lincoln, and in 1976, the George Washington Bridge, and in 1980, Staten Island bridges. Initially, all the TBAs were men, but women eventually joined the ranks in 1990, when a group of 8 women completed their training and became the first women to perform this function. Today, TBAs and senior TBAs continue to perform critical functions which keep the region moving, and I have to say, they are busy. Last year, TBAs and senior TBAs responded to over 5,000 incidents, ranging from removing disabled vehicles to providing medical aid to customers and extinguishing fires. They resolve these situations in a timely and efficient manner. It is my pleasure to introduce the TWU leadership, as well as the TBAs and senior TBAs who are present today and representing their peers at the facilities where they work. If you can just stand up when I call your name. First, Pat Reynolds. Pat is the president of the Transportation Workers Union, Local 1400. Matt Wright. Matt is the vice president of the Transportation Workers Union, 1400. Senior TBA, Carl Fales. Carl is the chairman of the Tunnel and Bridge Agent Division. TBA David Breverty. He's the vice chair of the Tunnel Bridges Agent Division. Also with us is those who are representing their various facilities. So I've got TBA Anthony Holmes, who works at the George Washington Bridge. TBA Jose Regalado, who works at the Lincoln Tunnel. Senior TBA Ed Schuyler, who works at the Lincoln Tunnel. Senior TBA Nicholas Natoli, who works at the Lincoln Tunnel. TBA Caesar Carvajal, who works at the Holland Tunnel. And last but not least, Carmela Davis, who works at SIB. Commissioners and Executive Director Cotton, you've each been given a pin that replicates the 50th anniversary uniform patch, right, that was created specifically to celebrate this occasion. In addition, you have a coin that was provided by the TWU. I'd like to point out that this artwork on the coin was designed by TBA Jose Regalado, who won a design competition that the TWO ran in order to be able to come up with the artwork. So congratulations. So let me close by saying that on behalf of the department, agency, and region, I want to thank our TBAs for their dedication over the last 50 years. You have all been part of a remarkable team that keeps safe over 240 million customers who use our crossings each year. Happy 50th anniversary.
Thank you.
We have a short video, if I might.
Absolutely.
This year marks the anniversary of the 50th year that the TBA function has been civilianized. TBAs first took over those roles at the Holland Tunnel. The following year, they took over the function at the Lincoln. And 2 years later, in 1976, they took over the TBA function at the George Washington Bridge. They get involved in communications, traffic monitoring, and emergency response. Just looking at last year's statistics, they handled over 4,600 disabled vehicles. They had over 330 medical calls, and they also responded and knocked down over 60 vehicle fires.
But I came to this job because you want to help your fellow man, right?
Customer service itself is great. A lot of people may say, oh, it's just towing and this, but we're the face, we're the first ones there.
The men and women of the Tunnel and Bridge Agent Division, provide crucial life, safety, and traffic control operations. They're highly trained.
It's never the same job twice. Everything we do, it's different. We get to handle tractor trailers, cars, buses. It's just enjoy doing it, helping people, making sure everybody gets where they got to go.
You hope that you can help them. That that's serious. I take that seriously.
We had a fire call in the North Tunnel. A car caught on fire, helping the people out and putting the fire out. I would say it's probably one of the toughest challenges because you don't know what you're coming up against.
My message to the first class from 50 years ago is, first off, thank you, and the job's in good hands. Guys these days, men and women of the unit, take great pride in it, and we're going to move forward, and we're going to get bigger and better.
Over the last 50 years are appreciated by all, by myself, those in the department, the agency, and by the region. Your efforts help 240 million customers every year. And we couldn't keep the region moving without you.
Thanks, Diane. And to Pat and Matt and everybody else, to see the video is really cool. Rick and I had the opportunity to actually go down and see some of your folks. And I see like Carmela and Emily and Carl, and these folks love this. They just have such an energy and a vitality and a love and a drive for the job. And it's literally taking their life in their hands, dealing with whether it's an explosion, the delivery of a baby, having, car fires. Every day is a different challenge, and we can't thank you enough. So pass along our deep dedication and deep regards and appreciation for all the folks going back 50 years that have done amazing work for the Port Authority. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I want to say thank you, certainly to the Bridge and Tunnel agents as a collective, but also in particular to Pat Reynolds, to Matt Wright, in terms of their leadership of the TWU here at the Port Authority. We do a lot of business in terms of negotiations. They represent their members extremely well. But in terms of advancing the, as we've heard and as the video identified, to helping, to moving the region forward, to providing help to people who use the tunnels. And the stories, one I've heard Diane go on and on. The day-to-day in terms of what they handle is truly remarkable. So I'd just like to say thank you as a collective, but thank you in particular to Pat and Matt for their leadership.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. Well done. At this time, we're going to request to hear from our Executive Director to provide his monthly report. Rick?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As a preliminary to this month's report, I want to assure the board and the public that the Port Authority has taken multiple steps in the last period of time to heighten our security posture, both at all of our facilities and also with respect to our cybersecurity protections in response to the current world situation and the unfolding developments in the Middle East. These are difficult times. We anticipate that these increased security efforts will continue for some time into the future. We will maintain our vigilance. I also want to again thank, as I do each month, all of the Port Authority staff and employees for their work and dedication. Obviously, they are the ones who carry out the responsibilities of the agency. We're grateful to them. And as I indicated to Pat and to Matt, we recognize the contributions that the leadership of the unions that represent, not just in this case, the bridge and tunnel workers, but all the leaders of the 23 unions who represent a majority of Port Authority employees. I want to report quickly to the board on the September activity volumes. These are largely consistent with what our CFO reported with respect to the third quarter, but just want to focus on September. At the Port Authority's 3 major airports, passenger levels were the highest of any September on record, breaking the previous record set in September 2019. Records were set for total domestic passengers across all airports, while, again, as our CFO noted, international passenger volumes remain somewhat below 2019 levels. TB&T at the Port Authority's 4 bridges and 2 tunnels, vehicular traffic remained strong, maintaining pre-COVID volume levels in September compared to September 2019. Car and truck traffic at our crossings, that is excluding buses, actually outperformed 2019 levels. At PATH, ridership at PATH continues to be at about 63% of pre-COVID 2019 levels. Ridership in September was stronger on the weekends, with levels at approximately 80% of 2019. At the seaport, cargo levels were in September approximately 6% higher than the comparable September in 2019 versus pre-COVID. Wait times for the few ships that entered the anchorage continue to be significantly less than a day on average. I also want to point out something that the agency should be extremely proud of, which is that a month after becoming fully operational in September, Newark Liberty's new Terminal A was named a finalist for UNESCO's 2023 Prix Versailles Award in the airports category. The Prix Versailles is a prestigious global architecture and design award recognizing the world's best facilities across different sectors. Newark Terminal A is nominated for the Prix Versailles this year for Best New Airport in the World. Recipients of the award are selected for their qualities of innovation, creativity, reflection of local, national, and cultural heritage, and ecological effectiveness, as well as the values of social interaction and participation. In 2021, LaGuardia Terminal B won the Prix Versailles for Best New Airport in the World for that year. The nomination of Newark's Terminal A for this global best-in-class award exemplifies the Port Authority's ongoing commitment to create world-class 21st century airports rivaling the most celebrated facilities in the world. That is what the region deserves. 2 milestones at our New York airports. First, last week, the Port Authority announced the completion of the new LaGuardia Atrium Business and Conference Center. Starting Thursday of last week, new conference rooms and business center services were open to the public, as well as several new concessions. Adjacent to the conference center, artist Richard Leopold's notable large-scale sculpture, Orpheus and Apollo, is also now on public display as part of the LaGuardia Business Center. The sculpture has a storied history. It was originally commissioned for and was on display at New York City's Lincoln Center Philharmonic Hall from 1962 to 2014. The sculpture was removed from Philharmonic Hall when that music hall underwent a total renovation. The Lippold sculpture now joins the airport's collection of public artworks that create an interesting and appealing passenger experience and a unique New York sense of place for travelers. Second milestone, on September 27th, the Port Authority announced the start of operations of a new construction support facility at our multi-billion-dollar JFK Airport redevelopment project. This sounds technical, it sounds industrial, it sounds unexciting, but in fact, it is a major, major development. That support facility will eliminate more than 300,000 truck trips across local streets by providing both a large-scale barging operation to move material into and out of the redevelopment by water rather than on local roads. It also hosts an on-airport concrete batch plant. Again, it sounds uninteresting, but it reduces truck traffic dramatically, trucks transporting concrete to the construction site. The opening of this operation is a major step forward in both the sustainability of construction at JFK redevelopment and also our initiative to reduce impacts on the surrounding community. It has been received very, very positively, as it deserves to be, from the community. Mr. Chairman, with that, I conclude my report.
Thank you, Executive Director. Any questions or comments from our commissioners? All righty, let's move along to our public portion. Now is an opportunity for the members of the public to comment on Port Authority matters. This public comment period, which may be limited to 30 minutes in total, provides an opportunity for members of the public to present their views directly to the board, but does not provide for a dialogue. Members of the public wishing to discuss a specific issue with Port Authority staff are advised to contact the Public Affairs Department, and we are asking that the speakers comply with the limit of 3 minutes. We have 8 total speakers have signed up. 2, as I understand it, one is remote and one is a video and one's a written. Jim?
There's 2 written statements, 1 video statement. The 2 written statements are from Henry Ix.
Yep.
About extending path service from Journal Square to the Secaucus Junction. Another written statement from Jimmy Lee recommending that we expand the hours of the exclusive bus lane at the Lincoln Tunnel and the frequency of path service. The video statement, which will be played after the public speakers in person, is from Matthew Bucky's Highland.
And that's regarding congestion pricing?
That's correct.
Great. Okay, thank you. First speaker here, Sam Sultan. Sam?
He's not, he registered, but he is not.
Okay. Jason Anthony. Hey, Jason.
Good afternoon, Rickon. It's good to be back after several months of hiatus. Jason Anthony for the record. Couple of things that I want to bring. Last Friday, I was at Jamaica Station at the air train JFK. And I saw that you guys rolled out Omni, finally. But there's one thing that you guys need to learn. Because what I saw, it was a total chaos that even the MTA chairman, CEO, Janet Lieber, is feeling the same way that I'm feeling. So what I'm requesting is that you guys advertise more. The Omni is available for the usage of AirTrain both at Howard Beach and at Jamaica. And please put more ambassadors to help customers that are still using MetroCard. Because what I saw too, it's a total chaos, Rick, to be honest. And regarding the elevators that you guys own, please maintain communication with the MTA. It is very important because right now we have congestion pricing also. and you guys are in charge of every single toll that comes from New Jersey into the Big Apple. So please, let's maintain the communication between the MTA and you guys, because you guys are seem like lost in space, not communicating, not being transparent, and users like me that uses both systems are like the ham and the sandwich. So I'm begging you guys, please be more communicative with the MTA. And also, I want to know if you guys are receiving federal funding. We want your CFO also to be communicative with Kevin Williams and the MTA, because you guys are by state agency, nominated both by Hochul and Murphy. So you guys have a lot of work to do. And I hope that next year I will see good results. So with that, I'll close my remarks.
Thank you, Jason. Deborah.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to first bring greetings from Christopher. He's right now at the New York City Transit Rise Council executive. He's on the executive committee. I want to thank you very much that you did install the Omni for the air train. And when my cousin comes up, she will thank you. I'm thrilled about it because now that'll make life a lot easier, and I'll be really happy when it can be done with the path as well as your buses, so that I can, as I said last month, I want to go to some of your great malls that are by the path trains. You have really good ones in the accessibility. So that'll be fun because, I love Brooklyn, I love New York City, but I want to sometimes get to New Jersey. I miss also going down to Atlantic City, but that's the southern part. But I'm thanking you very much for starting, and I appreciate it. Because as I said, I am one of the testers for the reduced fare Omni. Because as a person with, yes, you see that part of disability, but it was easier because now if you notice, my hand, I'm not broken. I have a tendonitis that if I don't keep the hand still like this in this brace, the pain is excruciating. So now it makes it even easier when I just tap. I don't have to say to my son, please tap for me. I don't have to ask anybody. I could still do it myself. So please, let's work together. I will work very hard. You want me to test any of your facilities with the Omni? I volunteer. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ann Menino?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Ann Menino. I am testing for the Senior Reduced Fare Omni card. I want to thank you for putting Omni as the air train at Kennedy Airport. Please put Omni everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Deborah.
you for laying for the accommodation.
Thank you very much. Omar Vera?
Good afternoon, Port Authority Board and staff. First, I'd like to congratulate the recent appointees, and after their swearing in, they finally managed to get to the positions they were looking for. And I have one message for them: with great power comes great responsibility. Use it wisely. Anyway, I have to mention something regarding Omni on the AirTrain JFK. Because I was here last month, I was discussing a bit more about Omni and the rollouts, and I wish you would put it on path too. But the day I went to over 2 weeks ago, on October 11th, I took the A train to Howard Beach, and then transferred to the air train over to JFK Airport's Terminal 4. I was going to Europe for a cruise, and it was great. But one thing was done was that Omni was quietly installed at JFK Airport, so at the Howard Beach station, which like that was actually beneficial because I didn't that saved me the trouble of having to purchase a Metro card, which I had to pay a $1 fee, and then plus the fares that are used to go through the turnstile. But that was quite good. I was surprised because I didn't expect Omni to be there so soon. But as Jason said, it needs to be handled better. But still, thank you so much for that. We're moving closer to one Metro New York, as we should. Like I said, I reiterated most of the comments from last month, including the need for a path extension to EWR. Like that's still a top priority. Like that's been on for many years, but got to move forward with it eventually. All right. With that said, oh, one more thing. Do you think in the future the Port Authority could oversee management of the Manhattan Cruise Terminal? Because that's the only major cruise terminal in the city that's not managed by PANYNJ. And sea is part of your thing. Air, land, rail, sea are your 4 areas of specialty. So you might want to consider that. With that said, everything else is fine, and I'll see you around.
Thanks, Omar. Hey, any place cool in Europe, Omar? All right, cool. Welcome back. We have a video from Matthew Highland.
Afternoon, Chairman O'Toole and Director Cotton and Commissioners. On Monday, October 23rd, I spoke at an MTA Committee on Bridges and Tunnels and Finance to discuss the concerns of congested pricing. For example, if you live in New Jersey, who has to commute to Manhattan for work and they do not have an Easy Pass, it's $17 toll by mail plus whatever they propose for a congested price, which could be as high as $23, which could make up to $40 for their commute every day. So I would hope you would consider maybe giving those people who commute, giving them a discount, maybe paying instead of $17, maybe pay $13 toll by mail. I hope you would consider. Thank you. God bless you, and good day. Mr. O'Toole?
Thank you. So, Jim, that video and the 2 letters from Henry Hicks and Jimmy Lee will be made part of the record?
That's correct.
Okay. No other members want to be heard?
That.
Great. Thank you very much. I now ask the Corporate Secretary to confirm that was it, which you've just done. Now we go to our one voting matter. As Chair of the Committee on Operations, I will now present an item under the committee's purview. This item authorizes an approximate 14-year lease at Port Newark with Siemens Church Institute, a not-for-profit entity. The lease will ensure that Siemens Institute is able to continue its important mission of providing services to the seafarers and port workers at the Port of New York and New Jersey. Prior to making a motion, I ask if there's any recusals.
There are no recusals.
Any questions or comments? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman O'Toole?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Linford?
Yes.
Commissioner Bolwage?
Yes.
Commissioner Cohen?
Yes.
Commissioner Eve?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher?
Yes.
Commissioner Helmy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera?
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yes.
All the votes are in order. This item's approved. There being no further business, I move to adjourn. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Meeting's adjourned. We'll see everybody in November.
Beautiful.